Hello, Education 2220 students. I hope everyone had a great week last week. So I cannot believe it. We are actually to our last module, Module 10. Now, there's a lot in this module, so this is going to go through the week of Thanksgiving as well. And there's other few things I want to put on your radar to think about getting done and closing out this semester. So if we look at Module 10, I'll come back up in a minute, but I wanted to scroll down and show you the things that are going to be assessed. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is going to be your co-teaching lesson plan and presentation. Now, at the beginning of the semester, I said this is something that you should be working on for a while. Um, this plan is also located underneath course projects and service learning. You will click co-teaching assignment. This is really going to be all the information that you need to be able to do your presentation. Okay, there's a co-teaching video that will explains the assignment. You've got the assignment. I did give you, if you click on the assignment itself, you're going to see that you had to choose an evidence-based strategy and you had to do some research on it. Then you were going to design your co-teaching lesson plan. I did provide you with the lesson plan form that you will complete. Now, this lesson plan is a 30-minute lesson plan. Now, it's not for students, it's going to be for your classmates, your pre-service teachers. You're going to show them how to implement this strategy in their own future classrooms. So think about it as you conducting a workshop for teachers. Now, you're going to use at least two co-teaching model approaches. So there are videos there, I'll show you in a minute, that are going to help explain what those models are, but you're going to pick two of them. You will attach any handouts, activities, instructions, or print materials that will be submitted along with your presentation and your lesson plan. Now, your PowerPoint will accompany your presentation. And the reason I do this is specifically more so for my web group. If you're taking the web version of this Education 2220, you need to make sure for sure I have some kind of PowerPoint. Now, for my in-person people, if you don't have a PowerPoint, that's okay because maybe you bring in manipulatives or materials and that's going to be your presentation. Many people do complete a PowerPoint presentation or some kind of presentation. Now, you're not limited to just PowerPoint. You could use Google Slides, you can use Canva. Really, it's up to you. But I want you to make sure that your PowerPoint should not replicate and have everything that your lesson plan is. It's really a visual to show us how we would implement the strategy in different classrooms, different grade levels. So examples would be including videos, like a short audio video or some kind of photo, right, to demonstrate that strategy in action. Make sure that it is engaging for your peers. Now, there is a rubric for the assignment. The rubric is broken up into two categories. You're going to get graded on your lesson plan and then also the presentation itself. Okay, so I do have some example lesson plans and presentations there for you to use. But you will be using the lesson plan form I provide for you and you will download it and complete it. Now, since you are doing this web based, you could have had the option to work with someone or work alone. If you do work alone, you need to make sure that you are completing both roles, both teacher roles, because in any kind of co-teaching lessons or classrooms, you will have two teachers. So you make sure that you would have two roles filled out on your lesson plan form. Now, these were the videos I was talking about. They give you a better understanding of what a co-teaching model looks like. So what would it look like for station or parallel teaching? How does that look in the classroom? How does station teaching going or team teaching? So it's really going to break down those models and you're going to pick two of those. You also need to figure out what in task standard works best to support your presentation. So you would choose one of those. Since you're doing research on this strategy, I did give you a link, a video about the databases because they have changed on the library and put this together for us. So this is something that might be useful for you. So that's going to be located underneath course projects and it's going to be co-teaching, but the Dropbox is down here for you and you will complete it. So when you do your Dropbox, if you go to assessments and Dropbox, I'm going to show you where you'll submit it. There is a separate section underneath course projects that is going to be co-teaching, lesson plan, and presentation. So you would submit both your presentation and your lesson plan in here. Now, I have had people in the past, since you're not presenting to us in class, my web people, you would maybe do a screen recording or you talk and you record your screen at the same time. There's many tools you could use. You could use Teams, Zoom, OBS is one, Screencast-O-Matic. There's a lot of versions of free software out there that can help you record as you present. So that might be something useful, and it just helps me get a better understanding of your presentation instead of just, putting in a PowerPoint slide. So that will be on your radar. That's due November the 30th. The other thing I wanted to caution you about, you'll see here that November 30th is also when your service learning journal is due. And what we mean by that is your journal that you kept during your hours and went into the schools. You had to keep a journal. You were also going to write your service learning paper. We call it a written analysis. That is also due on the 30th. Now, your teacher that you replaced with, your mentor teacher, she needs to either email me or mail out to the school directly your material log and evaluation. Those are your closing documents. I put that there so to remind you, but do not submit anything in this. It has to come directly from your mentor teacher. So that's also due on November 30th. Now, as far as your work that you're working on, you're really going back to looking at how do I effectively instruct all learners, right? So we're looking at high leverage practices, evidence-based practices. So an example of that would be your co-teaching. You're using one of those evidence-based practices as well as co-teaching models and differentiated instruction. All of these can be used, right? These could be tools in your tool belt that really will address all kinds of inclusive classrooms, such as behavior, academics, or even social emotional needs of learners. So what we want to get out of this module is really going to be, we're going to be able to identify the categories of high leverage practices. We're going to define the co-teaching models and identify examples of those 5. And again, they're in our course project section under co-teaching. You're also going to justify the rationale for the use of research-based teaching strategies. This is going to be accomplished with your co-teaching assignment. And then you're going to discuss the relative advantages of instructional tools and strategies based on the different types of characteristics or behaviors you would see in the classroom. And of course, these learning objectives in Module 10 are going to help us meet these course outcomes here. Now, I did give you some keywords and concepts that are going to be tailored to this module specifically. We have our high leverage practices, and the different categories of HLPs is what I refer them to. We have evidence-based practices. Um, we have differentiated instruction and the different kinds. It's a teaching approach where you adjust the content. And then you have your co-teaching model is the 5. And you will see that these are the example videos I gave you. So those are really going to be your concepts to focus on in this module. Now, for your required reading, this time you're not going to be reading out of your textbook Teaching in Today's Inclusive Classrooms. You're going to be looking at these 3 different articles. These articles are really tailored to give you more information about co-teaching and why we use differentiated instruction and also high leverage practices, how we kind of marry evidence-based practices together, and why they're so effective when you put them together. So you're going to be reading that instead of a chapter out of your text. Now, I did put the co-teaching videos here. I have a PowerPoint for you on differentiated instructions. I have some web pages talking more about the co-teaching models. So like if you click on co-teaching videos, you're going to see this is a video that tells you all about co-teaching. We also have our differentiated instruction PowerPoint for you. It will open in a new window. So this is going to really walk you through the differentiated instruction and how that is an effective strategy for reaching in all learners, even if you're not in an inclusive classroom. There's a video for high leverage practices. If you're not really an auto person and you read right, you might want to just skip and go straight to the transcript. And then I have some additional resources for co-teaching and then some additional resources for differentiated instruction. And even if you don't get through all of these, I always tell students save these resources. They're really good later on to have them in your back pocket. Now, you will be completing 2 Iris modules. However, you're not going to actually turn in. So this one is on evidence-based practices. There is a worksheet that I have for you that goes along with the module, but you're not turning in. This is to study for your benefit. Okay, so keep that in mind. We also have one on differentiated instruction. Again, you will not submit it. This is for your study benefit. And the reason I didn't really have you turning in anything to Dropbox aside from your co-teaching is because a lot of us are really feeling it now, right? We are down to the wire. We have to get this co-teaching lesson plan and presentation done. We have to complete our service learning paper and journal. So we've got a lot going on these next 2 weeks. So I didn't want to add something else that you would have to submit. But I would like you to go through these Iris modules because they're like professional developments. They give you lots of information, they connect to our content, and they really help us meet our overall objectives and course outcomes. I did have a Module 10 quiz for you over our content of, those key concepts, differentiate instruction, co-teaching, high leverage practices. So that quiz is really going to come from those articles and all of the activities in Module 10. Okay, now I will not do a video the week of Thanksgiving. It's going to be a very short week. It's only a 3-day week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's why this is going to cover that area. And you will see that you have until November 30th to get your Module 10 stuff done, as well as your um, service learning uh, closing documents, journal, and written analysis paper. Now, as far as final exam, post-test, and course feedback, I will do that in the next video. Right now, we're just sticking with these 2 weeks here. You got plenty to work on. But if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. I am going to be going to a conference next week. I'll be going all week. I've already told my in-person classes this, but for my web people, next week, the week of November the 17th, uh, I will be gone and I won't come back till I think Sunday. So I will still take my laptop with me. I don't know how often I'll get to jump on because the conference is kind of a lot going on. But um, if you do have questions, obviously reach out and I'll get back to you when I can. It may not be that 48 hours that I normally do respond within 24 normally, but just always reach out nonetheless. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. I hope you eat a lot of turkey and have a turkey coma, what we call it. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a great 2 weeks. All right. Until next time, take care.